participated on many national and regional tournaments, and beyond that, she was in South Africa for the Pan-African Schools Summer Holiday Open Debate, which did happen last year, and reached quarterfinals and the quarterfinalist for that particular tournament. And she's going to be judging you in this round. So on the panel is none other than Alupo Angela. She has represented her former school in many national and international tournaments as well, and regional tournaments, and won very many. Many of you have heard when we have come back for playing, the girl has beaten us. She was the one, and that is. And yesterday she did represent and reached finals at the Namibian Open Debate. More Innocent is also going to be on this very panel, so please take your seat. Innocent is the chair of the panel of judges that is going to judge this particular round, this debate, and also serving as the chief adjudicator for this particular tournament, who has been giving us the guidelines and stuff like that. And that is none other than Isule Swabra. Also represented the school in South Africa and ended as quarter-finalist, and many other tournaments, international, regional, and national. Please take your seat, Chair.
A volunteer to lead us in an opening prayer. Please, may you enable them show and express out what they have experienced throughout the training that you have been having.
Blessed I am and blessed is the fruit of Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and ever shall be, all without end.
You have worked hard to be here, so do not be afraid. Relax and do your best, and as well as, deliver your most beautiful speeches that you could ever deliver. Yeah, we are very happy to have you all at the finals, and I'm very happy to be the chair of this particular debate, and I want to wish both teams all the best in the round.
First of all, I would like to make you to understand, I would like you to know the characteristics of the news of climate change. News is just information about something that has happened recently. That it is like, for example, we find that yesterday we had floods, but today NTV is broadcasting news that this in Jinja, Bugembe, exactly, we had floods. So that is all about news. Climate change are the changes in the earth's weather, including changes in temperature, wind patterns, and rainfall, especially increase in temperature of the Earth's atmosphere. That is caused by the increase of particular gases as well as carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide can be produced by either animals. So the sources of this climate news, we have the people like the weather forecasters, the climatologists, and the weather stations which organize that this climate news the news can be broadcasted, the TVs, or radios, and also conferences where the aspects of climate like rainfall and temperature, the climate patterns, and the factors are affecting it like vegetation distribution. So I would like to talk about the inconsistent reporting. Publishment on a basis is not regular. This is why you find that the news reporters, first of all, they analyze what the people want. The people want only news which has action, slow problems or gradual problems. You find that they delay to come to the scene of the just because they are not interested in news which are gradual. And also, on the same point, there is publishment of isolated weather events. This is why you find that certain like today, if there are floods, tomorrow if there is still floods, they don't report. But this is why you find that they only report once in a while. Then also there is clickbait, and this clickbait is like what information or news they do to attract people. This is why you find that they add other exaggerated info to attract the viewers. You find that like if it is an accident that there is landslide, these people to attract more eyes or to attract more viewers, you find that they are telling you that they affected, they want this to like Bududa. But the true news is that they just affected a small area. But if they report this actually means that the landslides affected a small area, you find that people are not that interested. False fund collection. Through this exaggerated info, you find that when they say that the whole district is affected, you find that people the broadcasters or the government collect funds thinking because they have sympathy. But you find that it is just a small area. Like only you find that 5 people in the family have been affected. But the government officials or the news reporters, they say that 500 people have been affected. They need 5 billion, they need 10 billion just to compensate these people. Therefore, leading to false fund collection. therefore causing still reluctance in people, that they make people to stop thinking about what they should do, and therefore causing more climate problems. Yes, yes.
Yes, that's that. This house believes that the news gets the idea of climate change wrong. First of all, dear judges, I would like to clarify to you some different key terms in this motion. First of all, news. News refers to the mainstream media, including TV, online platforms, news, and social media. And that says that gets the idea of climate change. News outlets or media organizations misrepresent, or misunderstand the issue of climate change. Yes. So, in this context, climate change is one of the most pressing issues facing our planet today. This side of the house has come here and told us and talked about inconsistent reporting. Here, we say that, this side of the house, we say that there is more expert reporting. That this news gets well-trained climatologists to research about the negative effects affecting climate and their solutions before they broadcast. Also came here and told us that there is little news given or little news broadcast, or there is some false news that is broadcasting. The expert climatologists and researchers, they first sit down and first get connections from different sources that they have researched, like global accuracy coverage. They first study about the climate conditions worldwide, which is broadcast worldwide. Like an example, people in different areas put their views on social media platforms, like our environment is being destroyed because of cutting down trees, mentioned by a few. But these people first study those different sources, and then they come up with a band of information. I talk about that as on our side of the house, we say that the news gets the idea of climate change. This is by it raises awareness of people. This is because the media has played a huge role in educating people about climate change. This is when, like an example, people broadcast and telecast information on TVs, on radios, that this and this has happened.
First of all, in the last speech of the first speaker on the proposition side, we pick out his last point, which is lack of scientific literacy. First of all, he stopped on the part of death of animals. How does death of animals relate to emotion states? News gets idea of climate change wrong, and we favor that. So when climate is not prioritized, first of all, this can lead to many different events like drought, and this also leads to death of animals because their habitats are destroyed. He also states another point of giant water bodies, and this can also lead to too much sunshine. Now it's too much sunshine caused due to deforestation, and trees help in the water cycle, and since climate is not prioritized, that leads to giant water bodies. Second point, political bias. This can be expressed in ways of thought of loss of funds. This is whereby you find politicians focus more on people than on climate. And this is accurately reported in many different ways. Also, political focus on people. People are more focused on by politicians than climate. So when this happens, the people's views are taken into consideration instead of climate. And this can lead to the many inconveniences that are already stated. Let's focus on individual action over systematic change. And this can be expressed in the point of individual self-confidence, whereby you find that one person alone cannot change the climatic situation, even though they know what to do. A small problem brought by inaccurate info, like for example the point of clickbait. Clickbait, this refers to false information put on the media or on the internet by news officials or other people to attract certain customers, and some people know what to do, but because the news is not accurate, or they find that the news is not telling what is exactly the truth, but for them they know what to do, but sometimes they can actually even be lazy and they just don't want to do it at all. This lack of communication in accurate news, whereby you find a news reporter is talking on shallow information, Like, for example, there is a group or there is an activity of lumber and deforestation being carried out in a certain region, and news reporters give shallow information on this, whereby people are the ones who find out for themselves.
3, 2, 1, go. So, dear neighbors, one of our farmers has come here and told us that the news focus is going to go on politics than climate. So it doesn't make sense to me because we're talking about that how the news gets the idea of climate change other than talking about politics. So I don't think that this foreign position is making sense. And also I want to give from where our fellow brothers ended, where I talking about that more expert reporting of people having difficulty. Then over the time, news outlets have brought in more climate scientists than environmental experts to report on the climate change. This helps ensure the information being shared in more accurate based on the latest scientific research. So some news organizations have dedicated teams on reporters and scientists to focus specifically on climate-related issues, providing details and coverage. So I don't expect the opponents to come and tell us that the news will be only report problems and solutions, but not solutions of climate change. Because we are qualified to you that it will be expert reporting, because the climatologists will be God and the research, and so that they will give the problems and the solutions. So I don't think that they can come and tell us about the news reporting on only problems, not solutions. So I don't think that we can talk about that. So I think I want to extend our point by saying that with the news just the idea of climate change correct, because it will show the local impact. Many news outlets now focus on how climate change is affecting our communities. Stories about rising sea levels, wildfires and drought in specific places, how people understand that climate isn't something happening far away, it's already affecting them. So local news coverage makes the issue more personal. People are more likely to care about the problem if they see how it impacts their hometown, so their families and their daily lives. So local stories also encourage action on the community level, showing even small challenges which can affect. So because this news coverage of climate change has pushed government and business to take action, e.g. the media stories about pollution and climate disasters have led to new policies aimed at reducing emissions and protecting the environment. This comes then movements like Friday for Future, inspire millions of people demand change and hold their leaders accountable. The media has also helped around of pushing for green energy solutions such as the solar power and electric cars by reporting on their benefits and spreading the word about the new technologies. So, I also want to talk about that. This talks about the solution. Changes the public opinion. But what I mean by changing the public opinion, this news coverage has played a major role in changing how people think about climate. Surveys show that people think about climate change. Surveys show that thanks to media reports, more people today are concerned about the climate change and what to take action. Change in public opinion has made it harder for politicians and companies to ignore the issues as more people demand action. As people become more informed through media, they are more likely to make eco-friendly choices in their everyday lives in reducing waste or using public transport. With that, I don't submit.
As per the motion, this House believes that news gets the idea of climate change wrong. On our side of the world, they have explained it as well they understand, and on this side of the world, they have also explained it the way they understand. Dear judges, I beg you to understand this motion from me. In my opinion, this House believes that news gets the idea of climate change wrong. As we are talking about the news, they may be published on televisions, radios, media platforms. But dear judges, we have talked about the inconsistent reporting about the climate change. You may find that some people may turn on their televisions to watch news in order to follow up different circumstances that happen in the environment, whereby you may find that a news reporter is publishing news about disasters happening in Karamoja, is going to publish them today, and the viewer is waiting out. Dear judges, the first news that are broadcast, you may find that the radios, the television stations, those journalists, and other news reporters, they are getting information from different climatologists. And you may find that even the climatologists are having different information about certain areas. Don't tell me that the definition of science you have is the same definition that another person is having. You may find that even some other news reporters get information from the same climatologists, yet they have instead they have instead get information from different climatologists and see whether the area they want to talk about, the climatologists have related information. Then they submit it to the viewers. But you find that they are having information from one climatologist, yet other climatologists are having different information, whereby they may end up misleading the world and the people which need to come up with resolutions to that situation. Talk about this side of the world, they have talked about the well-trained climatologists. As I have said, that these climatologists are in place and they are well-trained. But you may find that even other radio stations and television stations which are just starting, may not get connections to those well-trained climatologists. You may think that they are getting opinions from these people, from these many people that they are seeing around. So that is the issue. And not that we are saying that let us not use news for talking about climate change. But let us not focus on only news, but also focus on other sources of information about climate change. As news reporters, you can go to different areas where disasters are happening, and you inquire from the people around what is taking place, what do you think is your opinion about this issue which is occurring, such that you can also publish that from, like in history, we call them eyewitnesses. Someone who is viewing someone who is viewing the situation at that particular time. Instead of going to these climatologists, you can just go to the people who are experiencing that situation and you inquire from them. Then the public opinions. You are talking about the public opinions. So the public opinions that you are talking about, the climatologists may not be able to go to Karamoja. They stay there for all that day and they wait what is going to happen in different parts of Karamoja. That's why I'm saying that they rather go the people who are facing the situations and they inquire from them what is happening in their side of the world in order to come up with the resolutions. So dear judges, instead of basing on only news, we can also base on other sources of information that may even involve the government and other personnel who can provide solutions and engage in helping those people who are facing such disasters due to climate change. I beg to say.
My speech in 3, 2, 1, and go. The theme is climate progress, and the motion states that this House believes that the news gets the idea of climate change wrong. But according to our House, we declare the motion states that this House believes that the news gets the idea of climate change correct. So, according to proposition side, they talked about in corresponding report. For us here, we say on the opposition side, more expert reporting. This news get well-trained climatologists to research about the negative effects affecting climate and these solutions before they broadcast it. So again on the proposition side, they talked about little news coverage. So on the opposition side, we said global accuracy coverage. They first study about the climate conditions worldwide, which is broadcasted around the world. So now, like the climatologists, how they acquire what? They acquire news from areas, like through those people in those areas who have lived for so long there, they have experienced more about it. So they will provide enough information which shall enable people to get solutions that are eco-friendly. According to the second speaker, he said that accurate coverage, many repeatable news outlets provide well-researched, fact-based information about climate change. They often feature expert opinions, reports from scientific organizations such as the IPCC, and peer-reviewed studies to ensure accuracy in the news worldwide. So, the second speaker on our side, he talked about raising awareness, and he says news coverage is instrumental in raising the awareness about climate change. Without the media's constant focus on environmental issues, public understanding of climate change might be less widespread. Like as we talk about the news stations, you know, some of us, we watch news, so some news stations, they are about the many reputable news outlets provide well-researched, fact-based information about climate change. I also go with that. They often feature expert opinions, reports from scientific organizations such as the IPCC, and also peer-reviewed studies to ensure accuracy in the news worldwide. So,
being honored and privileged to be a judge at this panel in this debate today. And all I would like to say is thank those that have been brave enough to step up and join the debate team and also participate in the various tournaments that we have been having. And thank you so much and congratulations on reaching this final level. I know it hasn't been easy for some of you, but you can just keep on pushing. Just keep pushing and we'll all get there. But congratulations to all of you that have reached this far, and all the best as you carry on and as the results are going to be announced. Yeah, we'll get to know. But well done, and I would like to say well done. The debate was really nice, it was very enjoyable, and yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. And at this moment, I would like to invite the patron to probably give us his say if he has a communication for us.